here we have our front dress piece, and we'll start by sewing the tucks. So remember, these first 2 notches are for the strap, so we're going to disregard these. Okay, and then these 2 notches are for the first tuck, and then these 2 notches are for the second tuck. Okay, so just disregard these. You can even put them in a different color if you wanted to. Okay, so what we're gonna do is literally, to create the tuck, we're just going to fold it in half. So fold it in half and then match those 2 notches like so, and then you just pin it. Okay, and same for the bottom. We have the 2 markings there. We're going to match them on either side and pin. Okay, so now we have our first tuck pinned. And just to speed it up a little bit, I will be honest, I love to use pins. So I will just add about 2 more before I go to the sewing machine to sew it. Okay, so you'll sew from here all the way to the bottom marking. So literally just a straight line there. Okay, and I actually just really quickly wanted to show you me actually sewing the tuck. But yeah, just a straight line, and it's super easy. Okay, so when you are done sewing the tucks, it will look like this. And then I actually completely forgot, but at this point you can go in and actually top stitch your tucks down. Okay, and for the facing, we will do the exact same thing. Remember, disregard these first 2 because they're for the strap. And again, what you'll do, fold in half, match the notches, pin and sew. Okay, so once you've sewn the tucks on the front facing, it will look like this. Okay, so now we'll start on the center back seam. So this is where the zipper will be. So you'll take your 2 back pieces and make sure you're matching the 2 notches with right sides together there. And from that notch to the top, you'll leave it open for the zipper. And then from the notch to the bottom, you will sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay. And so what we'll do now is we will pin it and then sew it. And this will be our center back seam. Okay, so we've sewn the center back seam, and it will look like this. Okay. And our next step is to sew the front to the back. So with right sides together, we will sew our side seams. So we're gonna just sew the side seams with a 1/2 inch seam allowance from top to bottom. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll pin it and then we'll sew it. Okay, so once you have the side seams done, it will look like this. Okay, and so now we have the shell of the dress complete so far. And if you wanted to, at this point, you could serge the seams. Now we'll do the exact same thing to the facing pieces. With right sides together, we'll sew the front to the 2 back pieces. We'll sew the side seam there, 1/2 inch seam allowance, same here, and we'll have the back open for the zipper. Once sewn, it will look like this. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could iron your tucks, serge your side seams, and also serge the bottom if you would like, just to clean it up. Okay, next, we are going to work on our straps. So we have 2 straps. And what you'll do is you'll take one with right sides together and you're going to just sew along the edge. So literally the edge of your presser foot on your sewing machine is going to be lined up with the edge of the fabric. So normally that should be about a 1/4 seam allowance. And I did want to mention that spaghetti straps like this can be cut on the grain line, like my pattern, or they could also be cut on the bias as well. Okay, so now that the straps are sewn, what we'll do is we'll turn them right side out. So for this, I will be using a safety pin, okay? And so what we'll do is we'll take the safety pin and we will insert it into the fold like so. And then we'll close the safety pin. And then we will insert it into the tube like so. And so what you're doing is you're just pushing it through there and then you're pulling the fabric over it. So to start with, I will be honest, it can be a little difficult, but once it starts, it usually goes smoothly. Again, just push the safety pin in and pull the fabric. So of course there's other ways to turn spaghetti straps right side out, but I just noticed this is just the easiest for me. So of course you're more than welcome to use a loop turner or a bobkin or anything like that, but for me I prefer the safety pin for sure. Et voila, and you have your first strap. At this point you can remove your safety pin. And I do have another trick. So right now I actually like to use a chopstick. And so what I do is I'll take a chopstick and I'll actually insert it into the strap. And so I just noticed that the chopstick will help with the strap and like make it less wonky and kind of give it more of a shape. And afterwards you can go and iron it and then do the same to the other strap. And once you complete the other strap, it will look like this. And so now we can create the adjustable strap. And for the adjustable strap, we will use a ring and a slide per strap. So for the 2 straps, 2 rings and 2 slides. And I suggest the Dritz lingerie strap slides and rings in the size 3/8 of an inch. And I chose this one because literally it's like $2.50 on Amazon. And I really like that it has multiple color options. And because I live in Europe, I live in France, I actually use the brand Prym. The bra accessories and the 10mm. So this is the actual one I used, but I will link both the Dritz and the Prym in the description box below. So the first step that we will do is to measure 6 centimeters from the end, and we will mark it and cut it. And it's 6 centimeters and not inches, it's centimeters. Now we will take this piece and we will insert it into the ring like so. Okay, and this is going to be the bottom of our adjustable strap. And we'll put that aside and work on our main strap. So the main strap is going to be inserted inside of the slider. So it's going to go over and under the double ring of the slider, like so. And it will look like this so far. And next, you will take your main strap and insert it into the ring like so. So far it will look like this. Okay, so now we will take the end of the main strap here and we will do like what we did before, where we will pass it back through the middle of the double ring of the slider. Okay, so now that we went over, we will go back under through the other side of the slide. And it will look like this. And with the bottom piece, this is what we have so far. And for the last step, what we're gonna do is take that extra little piece we have there, you see, and we are going to tack it down to that side of the strap. We're just gonna do a little stitch there. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pin that little piece down to the strap, like so. And we'll go to the machine and just sew it like this. Okay, so we're here at the machine. I wanted to quickly show you how I will sew and tack it down. Be sure to move the other strap to the side there. Okay, make sure everything is flat. And then basically all I'm doing is I am sewing and backstitching, sewing and backstitching. Okay, and when it's done, it should look like this. And I wanted to show you really quickly, I am ironing my tucks because I will go in and top stitch them. And yeah, so I do truly believe ironing makes your garment go from looking handmade to looking a little bit more professional. So I definitely will recommend definitely ironing at this point if you haven't already. And here I am at the sewing machine top stitching the tucks. And like I said earlier, you actually could have done this after you sewed them initially, but I forgot. So we're doing them now. And you'll just top stitch right along the edge of that seam there. And actually I have my seam allowance pushed and ironed towards the right. So that's why I top stitch along the right side of the edge of the seam. And it will look like this. And now we are ready to sew our adjustable strap on. So the first step is with the right sides together is to match the strap to the notch that you marked on the front. Okay. And once it's matched, you can pin, and then you will do the exact same for the back strap. So again, with the right sides together, line up the strap with the notch. Okay, and be sure to check and make sure the strap isn't twisted. And then after, we'll sandwich the strap with the facing. But for now, we'll just sew on the straps with a 1/4 seam allowance, just right along the edge. So now that we have the strap sewn on, we will now sew on the facing. So the first step is with the right sides together to match the strap notches. So there we go. So match the strap notches with the strap like so, and then next the side seam. And then we'll do the same to the other side as well. So as you can see, basically the straps are just going to be sandwiched in between the facing and the dress. Okay, so now we'll begin working on the back, and as you know, we will have a zipper in the center back. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to leave an opening. So what you'll do is you'll measure 1/2 inch from the edge there, and you can pin it. And actually from where that pin starts is where you'll start sewing. Okay, just basically leaving that opening. And then on the other side, again, you'll measure 1/2 inch. You can mark it or pin it, and then that's where you'll stop sewing. So basically you're leaving an opening on both sides. And now you're ready to sew it. So what you'll do is you'll just sew it like this within 1/2 inch seam allowance. And once the facing is sewn on, you actually have two options. You can understitch the facing down, which is when you take the seam allowance, you push it that way and just stitch along that inner edge, or you can literally fold it and press it with the iron. For me, I think I'll do the understitch. Okay, so actually after I sewed the understitch, I decided to still go in and iron. So I just wanted to show you how I did that very quickly. Okay, so now let's work on this zipper, and I have a trick for perfectly invisible zippers. Emphasis on the word invisible. The first step is to unzip the zipper, and then after this, what you're going to do is you're going to actually gently press or iron the zipper teeth this way. So literally the whole point is to get the zipper teeth completely flat. By doing this, you'll be able to sew right next to the zipper teeth, which will make your zipper completely invisible from the outside. I did want to mention my zipper is super long, but normally, like we stated earlier, we recommend a 16-inch zipper length for this pattern. And here's a quick close-up of the zipper teeth iron flat. So now that the zipper is prepared and ready to be sewn, we can pin it. So here we have the front of the zipper. And what I like to do, just to make sure that I'm pinning everything correctly, is to imagine what the zipper would look like from the outside. And then from there, I'll just turn it around and match the edges. And then the teeth are here and the ribbon is here. So we'll pin it to the dress, making sure we move the facing out of the way. And so we'll just pin all the way down. Stopping just slightly inside of the seam allowance of the center back seam. So where that center back seam starts, we just pin and sew just a little bit past that. And again, just moving that facing out the way, we will go to the sewing machine and sew right along the edge of the zipper teeth there. And for this, I'll be using my invisible zipper foot. It allows you to get super close to the zipper teeth. So I would definitely recommend using one. So I'll place a link below for a very good universal invisible zipper foot for the home sewing machine. Okay, so here we are at the sewing machine, and this is the zipper teeth, and we have our invisible zipper foot just lined up right next to the zipper teeth there. Okay, and we'll sew it on, and of course always start with the back stitch. And as you can see here, this is why I recommend the invisible zipper foot, because you're able to get super close, just right next to the zipper teeth, which you'll see is going to make the zipper completely invisible. And we're coming up on the center back seam. So here, just be sure to sew only on the seam allowance. So once you are finished, it will look like this, and it will look like this from the outside. And so now we'll start to sew the zipper on the other side. So what you'll need to do is just make sure that the zipper is completely flat, and you'll line it up with the center back seam allowance, and you'll match the edges and you'll pin. Okay, and now moving the facing out the way, we will pin here. Okay, and now as you can see, the zipper is completely pinned on this side. And so what we'll do now is we'll start from the bottom this time, and we'll be using the same zipper foot. Okay, and just make sure everything is nice and flat underneath. Perfect. And so again, we'll just stitch right along the zipper teeth like we did before. Okay, sorry, I just had to adjust the lighting there. But once you're finished, it will look like this. And just find the zipper head. It'll take some patience. But once you do, voila, it will look like this. You have an invisible zipper. So now that we have the zipper sewn to the outer shell of the dress, now we will attach the lining. So the first thing you'll need to do is unzip the zipper, and what you'll do is you'll pull the seam allowance, this part out, and you'll just lay the facing on top, just like so. So basically you're sandwiching the zipper, okay? And you can feel where the zipper teeth are, and you'll just stitch right along the zipper teeth like we did before, okay? And so what we'll do now is we'll pin it. And you will sew it with the same zipper foot. And once you're done, it will look like this. And what you can do at this point is actually take the seam allowance at the top. You can fold it and then turn it right side out. and it will look like this. And now we can do the other side. And once you're finished with both sides, it will look like this. So now we are on our final step, which is the hem. And for the hem, we have two options. And as you can see here, I actually have the dress turned inside out. So for the first option, what you can do is serge along the bottom here or zigzag stitch. And then after, what you'll do is you will fold it up a 1/2 inch, like so. And then top stitch along the edge there. So this option is easy and it's very neat and it works. And the second option is the option I'll be doing, which is a double fold hem. So basically you will fold it up 1/4 inch and then fold it again and then top stitch. And it's actually easier if you use an iron. So what you could do is fold it 1/4, iron, and then fold it again and then iron it. Or you can actually use a hemming foot for your sewing machine. So I have one from my industrial machine that I wanted to show you all how I use. They have them for the home sewing machine as well. And so I will put a link in the description box for one that has really good reviews on Amazon. So here is my foot that I use. And so it's a 1/4 hemming foot. So that's exactly what we need for this dress. So literally it rolls it for you. And like I said, I will show you an example of how I use it. And really quickly, here I am at the sewing machine using the hemming foot for the last step. Thank you so much for watching and making it to the end of the tutorial. Merci beaucoup, and I'll see you for the next tutorial. À bientôt. Au revoir. Bisous.